Welcome, this is M-Dog, and we are doing a leveling guide for Russian Fishing 4. And this time we're doing it with chat on Twitch. So this is going to be a new experience for me. I'm very excited. As we're going through this series, you should be able to see chat's messages on this video and future videos if I'm streaming them. That may be a combination of some that I record off stream, some that I record through stream. But pay attention to chat on the screen, because as we talk about different suggestions and different situations, they may have some really helpful things to suggest as well. I will try to call them out, but if for some reason I miss them, then I want you to be able to see it. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to get through the tutorial. I guess the question for us, chat, is as we're making this guide, how do we want to start? In other words, do we want to rush that first feeder rod so we can kind of have that in the water? Do we want to float fish at winding a little bit? Other ideas, we'll see how we're going to get started. But right now I'm just going to walk through, start doing the tutorial. It's very self-explanatory. I've done a lot of leveling guides in the past. If you want a more like moment by moment leveling guide, maybe look back at some of my other recent series. We even did one earlier this year. So I'm not going to be as detailed on this one on some of the basics, but the tutorial itself does a pretty good job of kind of talking us through what you're wanting to do. So let's just get rolling so we can get to the point of making some of those early decisions on what we want to purchase and where we want to fish and all that. Let's get it in the middle of the circle if we can. But yeah, you're right, Wrangler. At the time in which those boilies got deactivated, the brown ones were very, very hot. At bear, right? Oh, it's always nice to see a crucian. I almost always catch a Chinese sleeper at the tutorial, so I like when it's something different. So early on, you see that leveling up skills is going to be a thing. It shows us here we got our first skill points in float fishing. And we'll hit the backspace key and put it back in our backpack. Okay, so let's see. The tutorial says to get spare tackle for float fishing. Do notice that if you come over here to the house, which we were right down here, we just wandered over to the house. If you look at the door, Y gets you float tackle. If you press G, you get spare spinning tackle. We're going to do the float tackle because I think that's what progresses the tutorial. But you can get spare spinning tackle here as well. And when we start the game, this is kind of what we've started with in our inventory. It does now give you a 2-meter landing net. You can get the longer one in the store later on, but for now this will be fine. Press the space bar to use that. We are at the cottage pond, but we're about to be moving maps. Get a few basic food items. 1 float, some worms to fish with, 3 basic lures, 3 starter hooks, very cheap hooks. This telestick is actually pretty decent as a starting, rig to give us. We can do a lot of fishing at the early maps with this telestick, and this little spin fishing setup is not too terrible either. We can have a little bit of fun with this Spark and Express Fishing Corona. But the replacement, the starter stuff, as you'll see here, so we just picked up the replacement. This is going to be really cheap stuff. So this little bamboo rod, the line that it gives you is this old fishing line. It gives you a feather float, which is pretty garbage, to be honest. And then these rusty hooks. So this is sort of the starter. It does give you extra worms, which is nice early on. But this gear, although you can use it, it is much more limiting as sort of replacement gear compared to the starter gear that it gave us. What's up, Amar? Welcome. Sounds good. Amar says hi, Mrs. M-Dog.
I am.
Mrs. M-Dog says hello back.
I am Mardog.
Okay, so now we're going to go to Mosquito and learn how to sell the fish that we caught, that mosquito, that crucian we caught. So we hit escape, click on the map here, click on Mosquito, and then travel. It is free of charge. So Winding, Mosquito, Cottage Pond are all going to be free. Old Berg is where we start having to pay to travel, but thankfully in this game in Russian Fishing 4, it's not very punitive travel cost for the most part. So if you're used to other fishing games that have a more like punitive travel cost system, this one is not that, which is nice. All right, but we can't go to Old Berg till we hit level 12. So we're going to go to Mosquito now. T-Smoker says, what do you think's the best leader kilos for Corey? I normally use, I kind of feel like 17 or so. It just depends on how much pike activity there is. What's up, Steve? We started a new leveling guide. I love that. Hello, YouTube, it's me. That's funny, Zega. All right, so we're here. They want us to sell our catch. So the fish market is right here. And it's just going to describe the different ways we can sell the fish. We get 1.28 silver, which is going to give us just over 50 now. We have one more task for you. Now it wants us to go buy maggots at the the tackle store. So we will do that. And we are Bream Dog, very excited. Chat voted on several different names, and this was the winner. What did you do, Wrangler? That's alarming. All right, so for the tutorial, to move it forward, they do want us to purchase maggots, which actually is a pretty good early bait to have. So we'll go ahead and do that. That costs 2.4 silver for 30 maggots. So this may not be open unless you click on it. And you see you're going to get 30 pieces for 2.4 silver. So not a bad deal. Okay, so now they want us to make some bread. So if you hit N, it opens up your crafting menu, and then click on bread. You're going to use threaded loaf to turn into bread. And I guess it will tell us how many pieces it's going to make after we make it. I believe now it is programmed to, if you don't have a complete loaf, like if you've each loaf of bread has 4 portions. So let's say you've eaten half the bread, you make less bread. I do think that's been fixed. Originally, it still made the same amount no matter how much was left of the loaf. All right, so we've now got harvesting baits up to 0.2%. We're throwing a lot of numbers. Let's go ahead and just briefly mention, in case you really are brand new to RF4, if you hit O, this is going to be where you see all of our skills. And this game is a grind, so get ready for a long grind. If you enjoy the game, it's fine. If you enjoy the grind especially, it's where you want to be. But if you don't, this may not be the game for you. All of these things are the things that you can level up. And as you level things up, for example, with bottom fishing, you know, if we want to use a classic pop-up rig for carp fishing, we're going to have to level up bottom fishing to 60%, right? Or you saw we got some points in float fishing. We're at 0.2 now. Well, if we wanted to be able to use a leader, and all we were doing is float fishing, we'd have to get it to 40% to start being able to use a leader. So just a couple examples of all the different ways in which we will be grinding through levels and unlocking new things. All right. So let's continue the tutorial. The next thing it told us to do is just travel to Winding, because they want to teach us how to do spin fishing. So we'll go ahead and do that really quick, just so that we have completed the entire tutorial, and then we'll decide decide what we actually want to do. So yeah, that's a good point, Wrangler. You're saying usually buy the net early. I don't know if you know this, you may, but they have now started including a net in your inventory to begin with. But notice it's 2 meters. So you do eventually want to replace that with the better net. But I think you can now put that off. You can put that off for quite a while because a 2 meter net is fine. You will eventually want the 3 meter net. It's not expensive, you know, so you will eventually want it. But for now, the 2 meter is fine. The field kitchen here at Winding as well as Mosquito, worth mentioning, you can eat here free once a day, every 24 hours in game. And especially early on, that's worth doing if you don't want to see your hunger bar go down. All right, let's see. Approach the river to the left of the wooden bridge. All right, so now we're supposed to pick up the spin fishing setup we have. Adjust the friction brake to 25. Using the mouse wheel, hold down R and do the retrieval speed down to 10 per the instructions in the tutorial. And now we're going to cast it. And then we're going to start reeling it in. I think you pretty much always get a bite in the tutorial section. Once the tutorial's over, it's a little harder to get a bite in this spot, but you can. At least that's what I found. I say that, now we're not getting a bite, huh? Yeah, that's right. 2 meter versus 3 meter on the net. All right. So that is a perch. Did you really, Wrangler? I have always gotten a bite so quick, and then as soon as the tutorial's over, if you keep casting, it can be a little slower, although you can still catch fish in this spot. All right, you caught a fish on spinning. We want to keep it because it's actually a decent little perch, 473 grams. And our spin fishing is up to 0.2. All right, so it is letting you know that if you hit F1, you can see a lot more information about the different controls and all that. Beyond that, we have now completed the tutorial. It is a good time to, let's see if we can test this theory and try to get another fish here. Look at this guy showing off already. All right, so we're just reeling in, constant reel at 10 speed. And then every once in a while, if you hold shift down, you can get a little speed up going. Of course, I didn't get it that time. Let's see if we can get it this time. All right, I'm not getting speed up now. I'm going to change our retrieval speed to, I think, at least 12. Ooh, I need to join our in-game chat. One of the things about RF4 is, unless you're just really wanting to explore the whole game yourself and not get help from people or whatever, it's really important to find some community. One of your options is our in-game chat, so I'll show you in just a minute how to access that. Oh, there's another pretty nice perch, actually. And we have hit level 2 on a perch. 557. Might be worth just glancing at the cafe, make sure there's not a perch order. Oh, there is. It's only worth 8.9 silver. How much time's left on our bleak? 10 hours. We could go for that. Okay, what do y'all think? Cast towards the edge of the bridge at those weeds. The edge of the bridge. Like over there. Is that what you're saying? That'd be cool if they added black carp to amber. That corner? Okay. Remember, this little starting thing doesn't cast the best. Plus, we don't have any points invested yet. Oh, gotcha. Oh, okay. So using a jigging with red maggots doing really well over here. Interesting. And I will try to remember in the description or down below from this episode, I'll try to remember to include some links to different resources. Blunty, one of the folks in chat right now, has a really great Excel sheet that has information on there that could be really helpful, as well as links to other... Oh, did you see that fish fall off? Links to other helpful resources. So I'll try to remember to include some of that. But let's real quick, let me show you how you get to our chat. If you're interested in finding a group of people to be able to chat with while you're playing this game, if you click on this wheel here and select a channel, you can actually type in mdog, and it's this one here, my dogs. Or so obviously you could also have typed in my dogs, but that chat channel is where I'm typically hanging out, and a lot of other really cool folks as well. So we'll go ahead and join that now. So now we're in there with 500 and however many players it said was in that channel. So we can see what other people are catching, they can see what I'm catching, and then we can also chat in there about spots and what's working, not working, that kind of thing. What's up, Michael? Maggot holds some of the winding absolute perch records. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, just did, Adrian. Oh, hello. Let's see, Howkiz. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but greetings. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so one thing, somebody mentioned going for bleak, which is a really good strategy, but I just don't know. Oh, we do have some 20 hooks. So I'm going to go ahead and get... Now, eventually you can get down to like 22 or 24 based on what's in stock. And that's definitely worth it, but you have to be level 8 to get those. But even the size 20, I'm going to get a couple of these for 3 silver. I hate to spend our silver early like that on a hook, but it's really hard to... Did we already have a 20, by the way? No, we did not, right? No. It's really hard to catch bleak on the larger hooks. So, all right, let's go check. Let's see here. So I'm holding down U. I'm going to drag our telestick into the first spot. Let's go check and see if we can get any kind of bream bites. What do y'all think, maggots or bloodworm? What's going to be the, and by the way, we want to be at a really high, yeah, low depth, whatever you say, high depth, I'm not sure. 17 centimeters is as shallow as we can get. Y'all think maggots or bloodworms? Doesn't hurt to buy some bloodworms. They're very cheap. Silver, 1.8 silver for 30. We can try both. You leveled on crucians in the pond. I love it. Yeah, that's a good point, Blunty. So hook size, in general, is going to help target what size fish you're catching. I think according to the guides that the developers have provided, they talk about the hook size matching the size of the fish you're going after. I guess the mouth of the fish you're going after. You also want to match the hook size with the bait that you're using to a degree. So these bleak we're trying to catch are really small, tiny, tiny fish. So if we could buy size 24 hooks right now, we definitely would. Size 20 hook is going to actually be harder to get them, but we still might be able to. But we're going to run into this a lot too, catching roach instead of bleak because of the hook size. Yeah, bloodworms can be really good. We'll try that.
Challenge. Challenge accepted.
Is that a bleak or... No, that's actually a dace. That's another good fish to catch early, though. Hey, America Jake! Thank you for gifting a sub to Thigh Smack. I appreciate it. So we'll have to go check the pond here at Winding as well. See, there's a bleak spot in the pond that I often like to use, and then there's other spots all along the river here we could check out. Let me just try this spot one more time. Kind of like that we caught that dace, though. If you can get some marker dace, that can be pretty helpful as well. There's a bleak. All right, so we got a bleak. So you'll notice some of these fish have check marks, some don't. That's going to determine the, I mean, that's determined by the size. So each species has its own size requirement to be a marker. If it is a marker, it's going to be worth some amount of silver. If it's less than a marker, it's going to be worth very, very little. Although sometimes still useful in cafe orders, even if it's not a marker. All right, let's go bloodworm here. We'll see if bloodworm's doing anything. You just got a bream on the vanilla strawberry stuff? Yeah, there's a bleak down there, I think. He's checking it out. Need him to hurry up, though. We're running out of line. There we go. There we go. Oh, that was a gudgeon. Little small gudgeon. Very cool. So we've caught 3 different species, small fish here. The dace, the bleak, and the gudgeon now. They're all decent fish to catch at this point. Ooh, that was quick. That looks like another dace, doesn't it? We just hit level 3 on a dace that wasn't even a marker, right? So we're leveling, but that's not the real... I mean, the goal here early on is silver. That's a perch. We just got a weekly record gudgeon? Wait, what day is it? It's early in the week, right? Is that another perch? It is. Okay. $30cm you had dace? Okay. You had another ghost mirror. Nice, Wrangler. That is interesting, Thigh Smack. Yeah, we should really look at the cafe and see. I'm wondering now if how close we're getting on that perch order. That should be our focus to get that 8 silver off the perch order. I don't know that I've actually fully talked about cafes yet in this first episode, and that's pretty important, especially at lower levels. So there's 2 ways of getting rid of your fish. One is selling them at the fish market, but the other thing is they have specific cafe orders. And you typically get double or even triple the amount of silver for your fish if you can meet the cafe order, compared to what you would get if you just sold them straight to the fish market. All right, really quick, let's try that 30cm, see if we can hit a little higher percentage of dace. And then we'll go look at the cafe order. So how many perch do we have? I think we needed 5, so we're 1 short. I just don't know if they're all gonna be the right size. No, at least one of them's too small, maybe multiples. Oh, it's a nice roach. We are getting a really nice variety of fish right here. That's one thing that's pretty cool. Plenty of time left on perch. Okay. I may just switch to spin fishing and just see if we can wrap up perch that way. Let's see how close we are though. Uh, 199, so we actually need at least 2 more, right? Oh, there's another bleak. And that's really what I would love to go for. We just don't have a small enough hook to be as efficient. And so far, at least in this spot, we've been tending towards less than marker size. Both bleaks have been too small to be worth much. Now again, sometimes there's a good cafe order for those smaller ones, but I don't think there is right now. Oh, pikes as well. Interesting. I just think what's cool about that size smack is you're like dodging the catfish 100%, you know? Compared to when we went for the Volgazander where we're like putting ourselves at great risk of the catfish. It's another roach. Yeah, that rough order is interesting. We could work on that tonight, perhaps. Okay, so the perch, we've only got 2 that are the size, so it may not be worth focusing that. Oh, there is, yeah, but we need marker size, right? And we're running out of time. So we can forget the bleak order because of the size requirement. So we're kind of in a weird spot. All right, let's go look at some other spots, though. I do want to purchase the maps for both Winding and then eventually Mosquito as well. So we're going to go to the admin building, which is over here. Every map has one. And this map cost us 5 silver. Again, we don't necessarily need to get this like as early as I am. Might be worth going ahead and buying your first feeder setup or whatever first. But in doing a video like this, I think it's really important for us to be able to hit M and kind of see where we are on the map. So I'm going to go ahead and do it myself. Okay, so I'm going to cross over this bridge here and want to go check out the pond. See if the bleak are biting at all in the pond. There's several spots for bleak here. And they're not always going to be active, but when they are, there's some good bleak spots at Winding. I think the other thing we could do is we could kind of show off one of the cool things about RF4, and that is using multiple rods at the same time. Even at a low level like this, we can kind of throw our spin fishing, throw the lure around a little bit while we're waiting on bites on the float, unless they're just like super fast. All right, so we're up here at the pond now. So we haven't fished at Mosquito yet in this video, but Mosquito is a lake where Winding is a river. And that means if you're on the main river at Winding, you have a current. Even where we were fishing there on this side of the bridge, the current was sort of slowly moving from sort of left to right on the screen at least. Well, when you're up in this pond, there is no current. So you can kind of fish this area more like how we will eventually fish at Mosquito. Let's actually not do that. Let's go back to the really shallow just to test on bleak activity. So we're going to cast this about 90% out, and then we're just going to set this down and hope that we get a bite there. I'll be watching it. Now I'm going to put the spin fishing setup back in our hands, and no current here, so we might go up to 15 retrieval speed. Oh, I'm already seeing a nibble on this though. It might be too active. We'll see. All right, so is this a bleak? That is the question. It is. Still not marker, but that's a good sign that they're here. This is one of my favorite bleak spots though. Just because there's no current, but you still get the winding bleak. I'm at 17 centimeter depth, Dave. Just as shallow as you can go. Ooh. I guess we haven't really mentioned, and bleak are a little bit easier than some fish like crucian gibbles and stuff. Oh, look at that perch at the last second. What was the perch order? Was it $1.99? All right, that's another one that's the right size. But when you are float fishing like we are there, a lot of times, oh, I messed that one up. A lot of times you're gonna see nibbles, and if you left click when the nibble's happening, you're likely gonna miss the fish. Congrats on level 2 there, Dave. But if you wait until the nibble process is over and it's actually turned into a full bite, and then you left click, you're much more likely to actually land the fish. So those are all nibbles, and it really, to be honest, it just takes practice kind of figuring out the difference. I still mess it up all the time, but you just want to increase your percentage as high as possible on guessing correctly. Oh, there's a Chinese sleeper. One of my favorite low-level fish to catch. Although it's not worth very much, but it's still a lot of fun. All right, let's run this right by these weeds here if we can. We're already getting a bite over there, or a nibble. We did it. Is that a marker bleak finally? It is not, but we did hit level 4. We are catching the bleak, but we're not catching the marker bleak. And again, that may be hook size. It may be that the spot just didn't terrific. There's also some baits that we don't have access to yet that make it even easier to fish for bleak, namely the fly, which is almost always, at least the cheap package of flies, is almost always out of stock here. Pearl barley can also be really nice for bleak at times. You're at, wait, you're 40 centimeter depth, Dave? Is that what you're saying? Okay, I'll try it. I mean, I think bleak are usually pretty good at shallow depth. I don't think it's gonna hurt you to be at shallow depth if you're trying to catch bleak, but you never know. Maybe we'll get a better percentage of markers at 40. I don't know. Oh, if I missed that bite, yeah, that's my fault. So it might just be a little bit too good of a bite rate to try to spin fish at the same time. As soon as I see the nibble, I've just got to switch over. Wow, a sitchel, huh? Oh, we barely got it. Hey, good call, Dave. Our first marker bleak did come at 40 centimeters and with about a 70% cast here. So good call. Other than that one that got on right at the shore, I don't think we've only had that one perch out here, right? When we're at spots where spin fishing is appropriate, I'd like to try to do a good bit of spin fishing on this leveling guide, especially when we get to the point where we've got bottom feeder setups. Have a couple of feeders out there and then spin fish a little as well. That's a great combo because with bottom feeders, we don't have to worry about setting the hook like we do on this float setup. By the way, I'm hitting Z to zoom in if you're noticing the perspective change there. So we need to figure out if we're going to stay here for overnight. We need to figure out if we can get to a place where we can afford our first feeder setup before overnight. All right, that's another one that's at least 32. It was bigger than the other ones we were catching. Yes, good point, Blunty. Once you get to Old Berg, there's some really valuable pike orders that are worth targeting if you're into spin fishing. That's a good point. So that's level 12 and beyond. in the afternoon. I always feel like it's boosted, and then when the tutorial's over, I find it's a little harder to catch them. But I could be wrong. If you use the starting reel, line, and hook. I love it. I love it, Blunty. Frog at 45. Nice. So you caught a frog, huh? On the Bloodworm still? Yeah, this is absolutely not catching fish, though. At least not consistently. On the, maybe if we cast this way? Oh, shoot. That's a bite. I missed it. When it's that violent, like, it's one thing, the normal, like nibble stuff, but when it starts popping up and down that violently, that's more likely a bite, not just a nibble. How do you go 1 to 30 in one night? That's scary. There we go. Yeah. It's this time of day. The bleaks are just a little better right now. I'm going to go back to that other... the flurry? The fishing furry? Oh, shoot. Get out of here. Oh, please be a bleak. It's not. Oh, wait. Let's check the sizes on our perch now. That's the biggest fish we've caught. But I think that might be it on perch, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Was it 199? We might be one short still. Shoot. That's my question, though. Is there something that would be better if you're trying to do a speed run to 10? Is there something that would be better than a really good bleak day spot? Like, I feel like that's just the answer, isn't it? But bleak are also like reasonably good silver for this early. Pretty good chance of cafe orders as well. Dace is the trick, yeah. 5 over 199. Thank you, Dave. Catch a ton of golden trophy golden tench at Mosquito. Yeah, that would also do it. That would also do it. See if we can get one more bite here. Then I think I'm going to go back to the other spot, see if we can finish off this perch order. Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah, this is the bleak spot, right? I feel like this is even better than the first spot we were at. What's up, M-Dog Wrangler? Grats on level 2. $100-gram dace or mega. Yeah, that's a good point. I always go for the bleak because I'm thinking cafe order and all that, but if you really want to hit it hard on, you know, jumping levels and getting some nice silver, a good dace spot, zeroing in on the dace, yeah, y'all are right. Y'all are right. Just making sure, yeah, we're one short. One short. And we did not get another bleak order yet, at least. All right, let's just see here if we can make this happen again before it gets too late. Yo, what's up, Keeler? Oh, there we go. Come on, come on. Big money. Level 6. All right, so Here's the deal. As much as you can, especially early on, you want to look at the cafe, see how much time is left, and then try to hit your cafe orders. It's just going to make a huge difference on how much silver you can bring in early. So that puts us at 45. Just to check, we've got 10 silver in just regular catches. And you can see how these marker bleak, once they're over 50 grams, they're going to add up really nice as well. I mean, compared to anything else we've caught, you know, those bleak are where it's at. Let's see here. Okay, so we know we need to get our first feeder rod, the fishing Sorrento, and we're going to get the short version because, I mean, we're not going to be using these for long. Am I going to regret that, chat? Let's think about this. Is there any chance that we might fish for like bream at Mosquito or something and want to use these and suffer through? There's a chance, right? We will get more casting distance if we go with the longer ones. Is it worth it to get the longer one? Absolutely, Blunty. I think leaning in heavy to float fishing if you're doing speed running to 10. I agree with that. Yeah, I'll get starter kits next, Phoenix, for sure. But I like getting these feeder rods out immediately. I mean, I think a new player isn't necessarily just going to go float fish for bleak and dace until they can afford starter kits. They're going to want to have a little bit more variety. I'm kind of thinking go with the longer one. It's only, yeah. The price difference is not much. All right. So let's, now let's set this up. We'll put that in 3. All right, so if we use the reel from this is what we're talking about doing here? Let's disassemble this. Put that up. So we use the reel. We use the line. We'll have to buy a bite indicator, although we don't have to have one. We do have to have a sinker, but that's very cheap. And we're going to use size 20 hook for rough, so we'll use worm. So all we need is the sinker and maybe the bite indicator. Again, you don't have to have the bite indicator, but it's kind of silly not to. Let's check the test real quick just to think about this. It goes up to 100 grams. So, oh, you know what though? And the other thing is instead of a sinker, let's just get a cage. Because we are going to use ground bait soon. Let's do a 30 kilo cage. Yeah. We're going to do this. And how much is the bite indicator? Because I might just go sell a bleak or 2 to get the bite indicator. It's 290. So let's get till we have 290, then we've got the real thing set up. We'll sort it by price. Just 1 bleak is enough. And then we're good. All right, somebody has a suggestion of what spot to check. Which I like. I like this idea. All right, so now we have the cage, the sink, that. I'm not going to put any ground bait on just yet. We don't have a leader. So now we want to, actually I'm going to put this on my first slot. And then there. And then we can't even use spin anymore. All right, 120, 120. That's like up at the curb or something, right? Is 30 kilo not good? Wait, did I say that wrong? 30 gram. Good point, Blunty. So you may want to go with the smaller feeder cage than we did because we're using this tiny little spark, and 30 grams, that much weight, will actually put a strain on that. And so it can be tough without increasing your friction brake a lot. It can be tough to get it off the bottom. Wait, where's 120, 120? Isn't that what we were going to try first? You said 90, 103, clip 10. That's up here. What's at 90, 103, clip 10? Is that rough? Really? That's straight up rough, huh? They're at 120, 120 as well? Okay. That 120, 120 is not what I was thinking it was. This is right at camp. Alright. So we're going to be casting straight out. Does anybody have a clip? Is it just like right towards these, what do y'all think, a 10 or something? I don't know that I've caught rough here in a while at least. Let's just throw it out and see what happens. So we tighten it up with Y. So remember, we're using a size 20 hook, smallest we have, and then the worm. Oops. I'll get used to what we have our rods assigned to in a minute here. And then we can try this, see if anything's biting over here with the current. We might need to, do we need to sink it down a little bit? Oh, thank you. Do we need to sink it down a little bit and try to run it along the bottom? Whoa, to try to hit rough maybe? There's another perch. That's funny. I mean, at nighttime, we're not going to have bleak and dace much anyway, right? What do y'all think? Try to float at the bottom, see if we can hit a random rough. Could switch it over to worms at night as well. It's not super efficient to only have one feeder set up at nighttime, but if you're brand new, it's all you can afford. So notice we do not want to mess with the bottom feeder when it's nibbling. You want to make sure the fish is actually on there. This used to be a good spot for chubs. Interesting. Alright, so let's see what this is. You can tell the line's moving now. If you hit R, you get that symbol, that message that says now the reel handle rotation speed is selected automatically. That means you do have a fish on. Alright, so first fish is a roach. And we got an achievement for catching a fish on our bottom rig. All right, I'm gonna change this to worm, and I'm also gonna think about what depth do I think it is right in front of me. 1 meter maybe? Let's put it at 1 meter and see what happens. Yeah, that's a good idea, Wrangler. Alright, so that's sort of too deep. It's kind of dragging on the bottom there. Hey, it's a bream. It's our namesake. It's our first namesake. First of many, I would guess, but what if we go a little farther out, like, I don't know, 15 or something? Are we gonna... see any different, like, any more rough? Alright, so let's go down to 80. Actually, let's try 90. There we go. It's dragging, but it's still moving, right? Or not? We don't mind the dragging slowing it down a little bit, but we don't want it straight up just stopped. So we'll try 88. Casting about 80% out. Maybe 86, 85. That's still stopped, isn't it? Which technically you could do that. I mean, that still might work. But if you want to try to get a little bit of the drifting with the current bonus. Yeah, it's still at the bottom. And that was what, 85? So we'll do 80. It must be so shallow right there. All right, so let's think through. So let's say on this account, we're gonna do a lot of bottom fishing with a good bit of spin fishing mixed in, and perhaps occasional float fishing when it makes sense. That being the case, let's talk about where we want our first skill points. Because frankly, right now we have 5 points to put in. And putting those points in will help us be more efficient in fishing or gathering or whatever. So what do y'all think? What are some ideas on our first skill points? All right, so that's not hitting the bottom at all. Just drifting with the current. We know it's down there close to the bottom, but it's not dragging on the bottom anymore. Reel and ground bait. I like both of those suggestions. The reason why reel is a good suggestion to me is I just said we might be doing, spin fishing and bottom fishing. Well, if we put points in using a spinning reel, it's going to give us casting distance and accuracy when using a spinning reel. And the cool thing is that goes across all 3 types of fishing. So bottom, spinning, and even float. If we use a bolo rod or a match rod and it has a spinning reel on it, all of that, those points will count in any of those. Now, it doesn't give us better control of the fish. It doesn't give us better quality fish, but it still is an upgrade. It's still helpful in casting more accurately. And almost just about, other than using a telescopic rod, it's going to be relevant in almost all the fishing we do for a long time. I like ground bait a lot too. So we've had several votes in ground bait. When I'm doing a leveling guide, I typically would argue for 3 points in mixing ground bait. Because I think once you've gotten to 3 points, you're going to get, a lot of the time, you're going to get 7 or higher. So you're going to have very effective ground bait. Hold on to those other 2 points till a little bit higher level maybe. Because you don't need to have always have near perfect at a low level, in my opinion. But at least you're not wasting as much getting 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 4 out of 10 quality or whatever. Yes, I like that too, Adrian. So looking ahead, knowing that we probably are going to want to do some spin fishing at Belaya, I would say splitting points between fishing with a spinning rod, which gives us casting distance, accuracy, and most importantly, control of the fish. Splitting points between there and bottom fishing, same thing, using a feeder rod. Same bonus, except when we use a feeding rod. So I could see kind of, going back and forth, 1 point on one, 1 point on the other. So I'm liking this. So the only other thing that I normally think about, besides the reel and the ground bait, is I do like having a point, even if it's just 1 point, in harvesting baits, so that early on when we get the shovel, we can get more often double up on worms or get a double up on red worms, that kind of thing. I do think that's really helpful. We'll be digging a lot, right? Once we have the shovel, we'll be digging a lot. So I think you can do it without it. It's not necessary. but I do like it. By the way, we have not caught a single rough. So maybe we should go try the other spot that Phoenix said. What do y'all think? I mean, we're not catching anything on float either. And we're not getting any rough here. I think that's right, Bomar. The worst you could do with 3 points is 6 out of 10. You're only getting roach at the other spot. So we may just not be able to get rough right now. I do not have caddisfly. I am going to go try 90-103 though, I think. I have a sense of what this spot is doing. I think I'll go try that spot. Remember, if we had size 24 hooks, that would help. Also, redworm might make a difference in the percentage of rough you're catching. But let's go give it a try. Yeah, Gravy. This is my last week off before starting back full-time with work. So I always want to stream more. My life just doesn't always allow it. So I'm really just decided this week to kind of... So this coming week to just get as much as I can in. There are some mussel cafe orders. So that's not the end of the world if you get some mussels right now. All right, 90-103, clip 10. Let's just see what we can get here. I've fished here before. Only free gold bait if you're high level though, right? For new player, catching mussel can at least get you a couple of cafe orders sometimes though. They're not worth anything. Silver-wise, otherwise. Grats on level 6, Dave. Alright, so that's obviously too deep, but let's see if we're getting a nibble there. Yeah, if you get lucky at a low... Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Did y'all see that? That was crazy. Alright, let's go to 80. If you get lucky on a Donitz on a low-level account, that's going to be a lot of XP, huh? A lot of XP. Yeah, what would a hardcore account involve? Oh, hardcore settings. That's what you mean. That would be so interesting. What is it that toggles hardcore? Is it actual in the settings menu? I can't remember now. Yeah, UI is almost off. That's right. F9. Wait, is that what actually turns on? They actually added a hardcore mode, or is that what they call it? I don't remember. That would be fascinating though, Gravy. Spin only and turn off HUD. Maybe they got rid of it. Maybe they saw that no one was realistically using it. I don't know. Alright, it's getting kind of early enough in the morning that... Let's go back to what, 30? Oh wait, actually I want to use Bloodworm. I want to see how this spot seems. Just straight up float fishing it. Ooh, that's so like creating your own hardcore mode, Blunty. That'd be fun too. We just caught a... What is up with that? We just caught a rough on float at 4:10 in the morning at 30 centimeter depth on Bloodworm. Do we think that fish is on, by the way? Maybe not. I mean, I'm glad we caught that rough, but we're a long way away from the cafe order on just one random rough on a float rod. Still can't tell if that fish is actually on. I think it's still nibbling. Oh, it might be on now. Yeah. Alright, this could be a rough. Yeah, it is. Does anybody remember the parameters of the rough order? No bite indicators for feeder, yeah. Yeah, that's right, Herky. We are into the leveling guide at this point. It's only 2 pieces at 20 grams? We got it then, right? I'm not loving the bite rate here. I guess it's still a little early. Let's go a little closer to shore. Thank you, Dave. That's beautiful. Then we've hit another cafe order. That's awesome. I really think those size, the 24, at least 22, but certainly 24 size hooks does make a pretty good difference on rough. Not that you can't catch them on 20, but I think you'll see an increased bite rate. 14 silver for those 2 rough. That's huge. We should go check out some mosquito cafe orders, see if we can figure out some ways to do that too. I have no idea how long this episode's been going. I mean, I can always split it up. Maybe when we switch to mosquito, that'll be part 2 start or whatever. Yeah, bleak orders are. They really are. Hey, let's put this up at... Oh, it was at 17? Do we ever try maggots for a second? I don't know. A wide-eye bream? Was it a marker? That's the question. Because those are often not markers, aren't they? Smaller than a rough. It is. It's like, it's tough going until you can get that second feeder if you're going to be float or spin fishing with the other one. And I do think we should swing by the pond and get a free spinning rod set up. Alright, there's another rough. So we are catching the rough. I kind of want to go back to our bleak spot at the pond and see if we can just get a little bit more silver on some nice bleak while it's early in the morning. Let's turn in this perch order real quick and maybe do that before wrapping it up to head to mosquito, and also wrapping up part 1. Rough. So this is what's cool. We can use the 2 rough that were not marker size and save this one, still get a silver or whatever from the fish market. So 14 silver for these 2 non-marker fish. I mean, that is, it's actually insane. I mean, it's so good. So good. And I like this chub order a lot. I mean, if we were a little higher level set up for it and had some grasshoppers or whatever, or a little bit better spin fishing setup, we could go try to nail that chub order, but that'll be for a future session. All right, so just out of curiosity, what are we looking at right now? 9.8 silver. And we can maybe get a little bit more if we go hit a couple bleak, right? All right, sounds good, Thigh Smack. Thanks for your help and for hanging out. $120 good chub spot. Yeah, we're just not quite there yet. I want to get our feeders set, and then we might start saving for one of the spinning kits so that we have a pretty decent spinning setup, and then maybe start saving for the feeder starter kits. We'll have to weave in some ground bait too in there though. We'll see how it goes. So are we just yeah, I guess my question is, so I should have bought some more bloodworm, right, at the cafe, but we're not going to stay that long, so let's just throw worm out. And we will go back to bloodworm to start with. And I think we were at what was it, 40? Let's try this again. 70% out, 40 depth, bloodworm. Let's see how we can do. Yeah. Yep. No, I did. I went for the longer one just to get a little bit more casting difference. Somebody made a good point. The price difference in the short one and the long one, just not worth it to gimp yourself, you know? There's the possibility that we might decide to go for, you know, bream or something. Let's say it's a 15 to 20 meter clip at mosquito. You know, we might as well make life as easy as possible. All right, I think we go ahead and put our points in. Let's just go ahead and do 3 ground bait, 2 spinning reel, and then let's start rotating between spinning reel, fishing with a spinning rod, fishing with a feeder rod. Oh, that stinks, Dom. Yeah, that's not very good, is it? Got to be able to reach out and touch it. Yeah, for sure. There we go. More bleak. Just not a marker though. Okay, so we're gonna go, let's do our ground bait points first. 1, 2, 3. And then we've got 2 points for using a spinning reel. 1, 2. That'll immediately help with casting. And then we'll start alternating between spinning rod and feeder rod. Keeper bream on a telly. That's pretty cool. The sleepers are out. Go a little shorter cast on the feeder that time. Fish more like where we're float fishing. Actually, it might have been a little too short, but that's really cool, Wrangler. A 1.2 bream at this level on telly. No, that's good. No, good reminder, Blunty. So, especially if you're from certain parts like America, or, you know, certain parts of the world where bottom fishing or feeder fishing isn't as popular, it may not be something you're familiar with in real life. Oh, sweet. There's a rough. I like it. All right, so that was just a shorter cast. So this is a feeder rod, and we do have this cage on there. Eventually, we're going to be crafting ground bait, which is just different materials packed into a ball that goes in the cage that will attract fish to it. And the way these setups work is they have the ability to auto hook to the fish. So if a fish gets on there, it's going to stay on there for a reasonable amount of time. So you have plenty of time to get to it. Unlike float fishing where you've got to be right there on top of it to set the hook. But this is very basic bottom fishing. And as we progress, we'll get into more and more complex types of rigs, types of approaches. But it's definitely one of the more fun things for me about RF4 is the expansive options and ways you can do bottom fishing. Of course, spin fishing, float fishing, really good as well. You might find that you like one better than the other. And that there's definitely some advantages if you decide to specialize in just sort of one track. But it can also be fun to sort of dabble in all three, especially while you're figuring out what you enjoy most. Yes, I got the perch order done, if that's what you mean. Yes, Dom, we're starting a new leveling guide, except this time we're going to try to do some of the episodes on stream instead of just recording them off stream so that y'all can be a part of it. Crucians are waking up. All right, let's get see if we can get one more bleak here, and then maybe that'll be a good pausing point, and we'll go try some stuff at Mosquito. I don't know what the cafe orders are going to be like, but we can see what we can get into. One thing I haven't checked yet, I wanted to. That's right. Don't forget to subscribe. I love it. Hi, YouTube, Jake says. All right, we're at Blindweed right now. Did y'all notice this spot for gudgeon on VK? But it's with Redworm 24 hook. I just don't know if it would work as well based on the stuff we have right now. There's a sleeper. Come on, be a nice bleak. I don't think that's a marker. We'll have to come back and do bleak again sometime. Maybe before this, but also once we get 24 hooks for sure. Shoot. Nice gibble. Thank you. Yeah, I'm almost done with the coffee. There's another sleeper. All right. So we've leveled some float fishing. I don't know that we... I don't know that we actually made that much more silver. Maybe a couple silver. All right, let's go double check the cafe order here. Sell our fish and just kind of get a sense of how far we are from our next feeder setup. I'm going to try to get our next feeder set up before we start making ground bait. I mean, it's really tempting just to, even just crackers maybe. We should just throw some crackers on some ground bait to put something in there. But in terms of getting the full ingredients, I think we'll wait a little longer. I want to have that second feeder set up. You got a 4.9 asp at Volkov. Very nice. Starter light spin set with Spiker 18, Belaya is a silver mine. Yeah, that's something like early on you could kind of have as a goal is as you get your feeder set up started and all that, if you're wanting to do a good bit of spin fishing, the spinning light, no, wait, is it this one? The 149 one, is that the one we're talking about? Man, that small line. I guess, you know, it's going to be a fight. That is going to be a fight. But I guess the problem with doing the universal one is the test on the rod. Like, you're not going to be able to throw those small lures at Belaya. So that's kind of frustrating, right? So we'll look into that. We need to think about all the options there on those. What are we at? 15 silver, plus we're going to sell a few fish. So 13 more silver. Oh yeah, let's double check Cafe. Nothing changed, right? River mussel frog. We did have the one crucian, but it's going to be worth it just to sell that one by itself. Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. We didn't hit any white bream. All right, 13. So we're at 28 now. Let's go ahead and bounce to Mosquito. Trophy bream order at Mosquito. That's funny. All right, this is good pause point. So let me go quick bio break. I'll be right back.